Good morning from Sweden. How are you today? I do hope you are well. Maybe we should check in with yourself. Quite often we forget to check in with ourselves to see how we really are. We just rush forward into the things that we need to do. Okay, so this is the 22nd of February 2026, and this is the I Ching reading for today, where we're looking at the energies around us and how to best navigate them in order to have the most joyous and smooth way forward. So today, if the sound is a little bit echoing, it is because my apartment is essentially empty. This is the last morning that I will do the I Ching reflection in this apartment. I am moving forward in life. I'm moving out of this apartment today in a few hours actually. So this is an ending of something, a cycle for me, where I've released a lot of the old relationships, old thought patterns, old way of being. And I think the I Ching readings this year and last year as well, although I didn't record them then, but have been speaking about this cutting away, and a lot throughout January, and then nourishing ourselves, rooting down in Mother Earth to stay balanced through the storms, the thunderstorms that we've been experiencing. Not necessarily thunderstorms in the weather, but in our lives. So anyway, for me, here is me saying goodbye to my past life and then stepping into my new life, the new cycle. So enough about that. Let's start by grounding ourselves. So we do this by emptying our lungs of all stagnant chi, energy, and then breathing in through the nose, into the stomach, filling the lungs all the way to the top, and then blowing out through a pinhole through the lips. So we're a cleansing breath. And then do 2 or 3 more in your own time. Breathing in fresh chi, fresh air, allowing the stomach to expand all the way around the chest area, all the way up, expanding, taking in new fresh air, and then breathing out old stagnant air and energy. And then you continue breathing in and out to the nose, through the nose, into the stomach, feeling it expand as you breathe in and it contract as you breathe out. Focus on the breath, moving the stomach, the diaphragm pulling the air in through the nose all the way down as deep into the lungs. But this is our normal breath. We're not forcing anything. This is what a normal breath should look like. However, we quite often, or most of us, are doing very shallow breathing, just at the top of our lungs mostly. Anyway, so let's start with the reading. So how are the energies today and how do we best navigate them in order to have the most smooth and joyous day forward? Heaven, earth, fire, water, mountain, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, water, lake. Oh, goodness, please, start my mind today. A little bit all over the place. I have broken every nail I have through in all the packing. I say so to apologise about the state of my hands. They've been getting slowly worse by the day. So let's see. So we got fire. So yesterday we had fire without. Now we have fire within, illuminating within. Lee. And then let's see what we have. How are the energies around us and how do we best navigate them in order to have a more smooth and joyous way forward? Heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, lake. And earth above. So fire below earth. And this one is the sun is setting under earth, which means that, well, although we're starting to see within, so the inner gua is speaking about being enlightened, but being seen more clearly. And the outer gua is like the outside, is more of a stable, nourishing environment. And actually, as I look out now through the window, it was snowing throughout the night, and there's like snow on the branches, on the trees, all outside, and it's this thick layer of white snow everywhere. Nobody's really been out, so nobody's been walking on it. And I look out through my window here, and it's like it's got trees, so it's like a little wooded area just outside my window. Well, there are houses, I can see houses on the other side, right? So it's not big forest in any way. But it's just the snow really dampens everything, like it softens everything. And it just, it just gives this feeling of being wrapped in a blanket. Although if you roll in the snow, you're going to be very cold. But it's just very, very soothing, actually. So, and this is but it also gives this stillness, right? This stillness and this safety in a sense, and the softness of sound. And I can see the smoke coming out of the chimney of the building. It's about maybe 50 meters away from me, or 30 meters away from me. There's smoke coming out of the chimney. There's something really soothing about that on a winter day, seeing that. So let's see which is the changing line. But I think this is the Mother Earth being enveloped in a thick layer of snow, and the stillness of that. It's almost like this Christmas feeling. If you understand what I mean, if you live in a part of the world where you have snow for Christmas. So, that one was already turned. And this one, look. So it's the second line is changing. Hang on. Kun looks like this. I just wrote it. So the second line, this is beautiful. The second line is changing, which means we got kun above. So earth above. Hang on, that's I usually write the kun, earth, above, gyan, heaven. And that's kun is responding, gyan is initiating. So the initiation comes from within, and then the reception, the responsiveness, the receptiveness is from without, right? So when we are initiating for something from within, spark comes from within. This is a spark that comes from our heart, and then we can bring it to the world, right? And allow the world to respond to it. So it's still a lot of earth energy. We're still in this earth energy, but it's without now. So, and it's quite soothing. So let's have a look at so we've got yin, the advanced gua hidden. So we've got yin, yang, yin, which is kan. And then we've got yang, yin, yin, which is Chen. And also the thunder is still rumbling in the distance. Chen over water. So it's like a thunder cloud. Well, the thunder is moving over the water. So water has got this element of water. So it's talking about depth. Like depth, going deep into something, like going deep within, and then really looking at who are you truly, and what does it look like under the surface. So often in this world we look at the surface and we believe the surface, and it looks great on the surface, but then we realize when we look underneath it's not maybe so great, or it might just look really plain and boring. You don't find it interesting, and then you go deeper and you realize, oh my God, there's like a treasure trove within, right? And this is where you can meet like a person. Oh God, I remember working in the place many years ago, and it was this guy who was working there, and he was like really like he as a developer, right? And he was like the way you expected a developer to be, like a software engineer, like really withdrawn and not making fuss, like really great surface, and didn't draw much attention to himself. And it wasn't like anything, like if you looked at the surface only, right, you wouldn't sort of pay much attention to him at all. And then I started to talk to him, and I started to get to know him as I was working with him. And like, when you saw beneath the surface, there was just so much kindness and such a strong sense of humor and such vivid spirit and mind, and so much underneath this surface. The surface looked so plain and uninteresting, right? And then beneath, I can always remember this man. Seriously, just the depth of him was just amazing. And this sense of humor and his personality when it sort of came to the surface, it was beautiful. Anyway, so we should never judge a book by its cover. It could be the opposite as well. Somebody looks really great on the surface. Look at all these, like if you look at what's going on in the world right now, it looked like all these famous people, and who got all the money, and they got great islands, and all this looks great on the surface, but then underneath, so much corruption and so much decay. And I'm not saying all famous people are corrupted and decayed. Definitely not. I'm 100% convinced that there are lots of very beautiful people underneath as well there. But we should always go deeper. And this is what the water is talking about. Go deep. See what it really is about, right? Because the surface lies. Yeah. Or can lie, right? Very much so. So Zen over water is it's like a thunder, it's a shock without. There's still stuff going on around us, but it's more in the distance, like shocking thunder. It's like the thunder in the distance. Now, let's have a look. Kun Li. This is interesting because heaven is usually, earth is usually below heaven, right? But they have switched places here in the what we're moving into, the changing. And here we got earth, we got the sun setting under the earth, so we've got fire. So let's have a look. Kun, and then Li 36. I think it wasn't long ago we had this one actually. And then Kun over Kyan. This one we've had, but much earlier, and it might just have been Kun and Kyan is 11, I think. Okay, yeah, we definitely had this one. And then Chen, water, 40, thunder over water, 40. So let's have a look at 36. Brilliance Injured, yes, that's what it is. Yeah, the sun is setting, so we can't see the brilliance, like it's below the surface. So that's very interesting. Kun, earth, fire. So Mingyi, Brilliance Injured. Mingyi. And that's, let's have a look at the element on that one. Earth, element, earth. 11, being comforted by Mother Earth. She's wrapping her arms around us, nourishing us, knowing that she's always there for us. So let's have a look at Earth energy here again. Advanced, Thai, advanced. So that's advance. Thai, I think this is a very auspicious square, actually hexagram. But let's have a look. So that's Earth as well, and then number 40, which is the relief. Yes, there is relief. A relief when we can see clearly. When we look into the depth, we see, okay, this is, that will bring us relief. And also a thunderstorm that comes across, right? And you got this big thick cloud above us with before the thunder. It's like really heavy and it's like really a lot of pressure. And then the thunderstorm comes and it just shakes everything up and just disperses this rain cloud, and then the rain comes down, and then afterwards it's so fresh, right? Because shook it all up. So let's have a look at the element on that. That's wood, is about also about seeing clearly, about growing up, becoming more aware, and like wood grows upwards like a little seed. It's like, and then growing into like maybe a big, beautiful tree. I'm looking at the trees outside here. It's the last time I've will be greeting these trees outside, and now they're all covered in snow. It's so beautiful. And they're so beautiful. And the trees, if you connect with the trees, they bring so much comfort. Look at the trees, right? They stand outside, no matter what the season is, right? And they're there, if it's very cold before winter comes, they shed their leaves to sort of, to maintain the energy, right? So they don't have to use a lot of energy on feeding leaves. So they shed the leaves just to bring going back into the simple way of life, right? So they don't have to use up a lot of energy throughout the winter just to rest there, right? Because there's not much nourishment when the ground is all frozen. But then as soon as the heat comes, the sun comes out in the spring, and they start sprouting immediately, little baby green leaves, and then they are growing these leaves and creating this beautiful, beautiful landscape of green all around us. The bushes and the plants and everything that's growing, okay? So today I'm actually a little bit sad. This is not a side. I'm going to have to throw my plants away. I've been trying to avoid that. It's like the plants. No, I'm really sad. They've been with me for years. I'm going to have to cut them down, put them in a plastic bag and throw them away, because there's no one to look after them. And I can't plant them out because it's in the middle of the winter. Anyway, that's it's not about now. So let's go into Brilliance Injured. And that is 36. And then, okay, let's see. It's very close. 37 is household. That's when we are returning back into the family. So Brilliance Injured. Mingyi signifies brightness, brilliance. Ming signifies brightness, brilliance. Yi has more than 10 meanings in the Chinese language. As a verb, it means raise, to exterminate, to injure. Literally, Mingyi means one's brilliance is injured. Wilhelm translates Mingyi as darkening of the light and Blofeld as darkening of the light, injury. However, in Chinese, Guang is the word that refers to the brilliance of light. Ming indicates the brilliance of one's mind, intelligence, and virtue. So brilliance, Ming is like brilliance of the mind is injured. So has the sun set on our minds currently? Maybe we don't see very clearly. Proceeding forward without restraint, surely someone will be hurt. That's after proceeding forward, brilliance injured. Follow, so yeah, this explains it. So proceeding forward without restraint, right? You just rush forward without actually thinking, making a plan or looking clearly, is this the path I need to take, or which is the best approach? We just rush forward like crazily. Well, then a mind, like we're rushing forward blindly, right? That's when the brilliance will be injured, because we're not using the brilliance of our mind. And what's interesting, in the Tibetan language or tradition, or the Tibetans, it might be, the Tibetans, when they speak of the mind, they put the hand on the heart, right? So the mind is the heart. Right, the spirit. This is the residence of the spirit host, so we here in the Western world, we think, oh, mind is just a calculating mind, and obviously the mind in our head, the brain, is amazing as well. But most of it that we're using and that we understand, like everyday people, is just a very small fragment. Like the subconscious. It holds so much information, for good and bad, right? Because that's also where all the conditioning lies, in the subconscious mind, which means that we are, in a sense, it could be act like a little bit like robots, because it's how we've been conditioned. So we respond or react according to our conditioning, like how we were brought up, for example, how in the relationships we had, and all this. This Gua is the inverse of the preceding one. There is a well-known Chinese maxim, Ta Guang Yang Wei, which means hide one's light and bide one's time. Right. Okay. This is the connotation of brilliance injured. By proceeding, one is taking a risk, even risking injury. When one's brilliance is injured, it forces one to hold back, nurse one's wounds, and is favourable. It is then favourable to proceed forward. Yes. So now is not the time to proceed forward, because right now we can't see clear what the next step is, and we're still walking maybe with some harm, with some hurt that we need to tend to, some wounds that we might tend to. Healing from a life, and maybe many lifetimes, right, of harm and trauma. And lifelines as well, our relatives or ancestors, their trauma, that's sort of been brought, that has been brought to us through our DNA, right, through the DNA. Healing that it's a process, right? We have to take it step by step, but as long as we're aware of it, then we can allow ourselves to heal. Is when you're not aware that we continue in the same way, and we keep on creating the same karma, end in this karmic loop. Okay, so then we need to look. Let's have a look at the decision. Brilliance injured, favourable to be steadfast and upright in hardship. Okay, so yeah, it's difficult right now, but we need to remain steadfast and upright. We cannot see clearly right now, so we're not making any great moves, right? Because right now we don't know. So for me, example, I am now coming to the end here. I'm moving out of my apartment now in a few hours. I'm leaving this apartment, and then I won't be coming back. And then I'm moving into the next step, which I have some plans for it, but I don't know exactly what's going to come out of it, because I'm changing my way of life. So I'm moving into a more nomadic life, rather than having one place where I live and then sometimes going traveling. Now, traveling will be my life, okay? So brightness has sunk under the earth, it is brilliance injured. Inside a grave, inside is grace and brightness. Outside is gentle and yielding. So grace and brightness is Li, grace and brightness. Outside is gentle and yielding. That's Kun, earth is gentle and yielding, right? Confronted by great hardship. This is what King Wen experienced. Favorable to be steadfast and upright in hardship. This is to cover one's brilliance. Okay, so right now we're not going out with all guns ablaze and going, ooh, yeah, I'm doing all these kind of things, right? Look at that forward. Right now we are holding our brilliance back, right? We don't speak too much. And then cultivating our virtue instead. In the midst of hardship, nonetheless keeping his mind still and his will righteous. This what Yi Ji encountered. Now remember, who was Yi Ji? I think he was the uncle of the tyrant of Chang, and he actually spoke up to the tyrant of Chang, right? This is thousands of years back in China. So he spoke up, the uncle of tyrant of Chang, and said, this is not good what you're doing to the people. You are taking from the people, this is not good. And then obviously the tyrant became very angry. And then what he did, instead of, so he didn't want to be thrown into jail or anything worse, so he pretended that he became nuts, mentally unstable, so then he was left alone. So he hid his brilliance, until he could make a move again and get out of this situation, right? So brightness has sunk under the earth, an image of brilliance injured. In correspondence with this, the superior person remains in harmony with the multitude, covering his brilliance, yet his light is still shining. Yeah. And actually, I've had this at work. So I had to step down as a leadership. No, I didn't have to. I chose to step down as a leadership role because I wasn't given the mandate to do the leaders above didn't give me the mandate to choose which staff I wanted. So I was left with a person who wasn't very good. And they were supporting him, right? So I decided I can't do this. So I stepped down, and there's now this person's boss has stepped in and taken over my position, and I've been trying to sort of be helpful, but I've just, it's just been very fractious, the whole thing, as soon as I open my mouth. So I've had to hide my brilliance and my knowledge, and not actually, I've learned throughout these weeks to just take a step back. I just can't open my mouth, and also the nourishing here, the earth has been teaching me that I need to just respond. This is not my decision, it's their decision, right? This is what they wanted, although they don't know that this is what they wanted. They don't understand. However, but it's not my responsibility. So, yeah. Anyway, but I've been having to hide my brilliance and not actually get myself into any discussions. I just go, okay, go. So, anyway, let's have a look at the changing light, which is the second 6. Brilliance injured in the left thigh. Needs aid, a strong horse, good fortune. The good fortune of the second 6. He acts in accordance with the principle and the situation. Yeah, this is exactly what I spoke about, what I had to do. It's like the situation is what it is, right? Well, then I'm going to have to act in accordance. If we keep fighting something constantly, we're just straining ourselves. We're just leaking energy and then just doing damage to our body and our nervous system. There's no point in doing that. So we need to just, allow the situation to unfold as it does. And then act in accordance with the principle and the situation, right? Take action, but maybe not by rushing forward always, right? We must look. We must be able to see clearly before we make a move forward. So right now, our brilliance is injured. The sun is set over earth. It's all becoming dark, so we can't see clearly. And then also, even if we do speak our mind, we're not being listened to, we're just being argued against, right? So there's no point. So we need to, hide our brilliance, our mind, because it's not leading to anything good right now, because people are just very argumentative. Anyway, so the injury of the second line is more serious than that of the bottom line. At the bottom line, the bird is still able to fly, while at the second line, it has become difficult to walk. Okay, so first, second, so yang, yin. So for some reason, this is a yin element, a yin place, central and correct. One in this place is gentle and acts in accordance with the situation, obtaining support to matters, and in good fortune. This is what the I Ching, right? So we're talking about, so we've got the second line is central and correct, and is a yin, central and correct, which means it's a yin line at the yin place. So it's central because it's in between the two there, and it's correct, but yet it is, we cannot walk. But then it comes out, but as long as we remain gentle and act in accordance with the situation, obtaining support to matters, end in good fortune. Right, so obtaining support, building the people around us, and this is what we've been speaking about as well all throughout the I Ching this year, like bringing the right people around us. On Friday, we were advised to establish feudal lords, and I did actually gather the right people around me to start a conversation from a different direction. When we just keep on banging our head against the wall from one direction, okay? When this line changes from yielding to solid, the lower gua alternates from li to qian. Qian also represents a stallion. The Yao text says to get aid from a strong horse. The strong horse is King Wen, who rescued the people of the Shang dynasty from the tyrant of Chang that I was speaking about, that Yi Ji, I think it was Yi Ji encountered. Yeah. And actually, it's central and correct now, but it's changing into a yang line, which is still central, but it's not correct because it becomes a yang at the yang line. So this is why we cannot walk here, because it's changing it's becoming incorrect. But if we remain gentle, although we're moving into this yang energy in this line, but if we keep the yin gentleness of the yin and responding of the yin line, the original, then all will be well anyway. So I think that's what it refers to. So let's have a look at the 11th advance. But that says, oh, Tai. Found it immediately. Tai is one of the most auspicious words in the Chinese language. Originally, it meant more than, almost. It generally indicates a condition of being more than great. Tai also means peace, safety, security, good health. Or it suggests progression, proceeding, advancing. Both Wilhelm and Blofeld translate Tai as peace. In this book, the word advance is adopted. Oh, that's beautiful. Sorry about that. So peace and advance. Advance peacefully. Progress peacefully. So cultivate this inner peace. So no matter what storms are around us, like here, the outer here, the storms are all around us, but it doesn't matter, although this is in the distance, right? It doesn't matter, we're still peaceful. It doesn't matter what happens around us. People can do whatever they want around us, right? And we're still peaceful in the center, okay? After fulfilling one's duty with composure, one feels powerful and safe. Thus, after fulfillment, advance follows. And one's duty is our soul's purpose. This is what our heart is crying out for. So I think it's proceeding forward. Let's have a look. What is upper canon? It's the fulfillment. Okay, fulfillment of one's duty. Fulfillment of one's duty also speaks about fulfilling one's duty, okay? And this is the heart. This is the soul's purpose that we fulfill. And then we can advance correctly right? In peace, because we are walking on our path, not some path that we've been sort of conditioned into doing. Like we're brought up and, oh, you need to study this, that, and the other. In some families, actually, I've been watching some Indian comedians, and they often brings up this, that the only two things they can be: a doctor or an engineer, and everything else is, parents think everything else is not acceptable. They're doing this as a joke, but obviously because so many of them are joking about it, probably there's some truth underneath there, right? But this is conditioning, and I'm not putting Indians down here in any way, like this in any society. I just use it as an example. Like we're being, this is good to be this, and that's not good, right? Even here, like in Western society as well, it's like, you need to have like lots of. You see, everyone's just going to go and study at the university, and like all the way, that's the only way forward. And some people, this doesn't suit. It doesn't suit them, right? They are more working with their hands, like, carpenters and like all different kinds of things, joiners and plumbers, and there's so many aspects on this planet that are so beautiful, but we sort of just go like, oh no, you have to go through school all the way to university, in order to like have some, regarded as high value in a sense. And that's just ridiculous, because we need all kinds of people, and we need all kinds of people to live according to their heart, not what society states is this is the way you should go, right? Because that's where we go wrong, because that's not our soul's calling, right? Our heart's calling. And definitely everyone should get education up to quite high, I think, for your own benefit, right? In order to learn how to do critical thinking, to learn how to look at things and see if they're correct, or to be able to, look after your economy and, think well for yourself, and to help build this society together in a way where critical thinking is like the base of it, right? So we need education, all of us, definitely, but maybe not all of us need to go through to university, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So let's have a look at the decision. Advance. The little is departing, the great is arriving. Good fortune, prosperous and smooth. So the little is departing, the great is advancing. So the little is departing. Okay, so the great is advancing. I think they're speaking about this line, actually. So the little is departing. We're building in these lines. I'm in the wrong one. We're speaking about here. So the little is departing is the top one. So the great is advancing. So the great, we're speaking about Kyan, which is the yang energy, and the little is the yin energy, which doesn't mean that yin is less than yang. So yin and yang, yin yang, actually, it's called yin yang. It's the same. Right? It's not yin and yang, it's yin yang. So there's not two separate entities. It's one that has different aspects to it, right? And this is the same thing with the whole universe. It's one, has different aspects. Nothing is better or worse. So the little doesn't necessarily mean that it's like something that is rubbish, right? So the great is proceeding. So the young is coming in here. So good fortune, prosperous and smooth. Advance. The little is departing, the great is arriving. Good fortune, prosperous and smooth. Heaven and earth unite, all beings come into union. The upper and the lower link, the will are the same. So the upper and the lower link. So here we go, actually, because the heaven and earth link together, right? They actually go, kun, it's like it's a sinking, it's like it's beneath. Right, it's underneath heaven, really. It's a sinking action. And Kyan is heaven is rising, right? And then as the kun, earth is sinking and heaven is rising. And they are meeting in the middle, okay? Heaven and earth unite. All beings come into union. The upper and the lower link, the wills are the same. The inner is the yang, the outer is the yin. The inner is the strong, the outer is the gentle. The inner is the superior, the outer is the inferior. Thus, the way of the superior is expanding, the way of the inferior is shrinking. So, this is what we're believing our inferior reactions, a way of being behind, and then keep stepping into a more superior person. And the superior person doesn't necessarily have lots of cars. It could have lots of cars, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not what we're talking about, material things. We're talking about superior within. Full of compassion and love and wisdom and can see things clearly. That's a superior person. It could be a person just dressed in rags, but being way superior in their mind. And especially here we're speaking about the brilliance injured, which is the main energy here. So the mind is superior. The mind of us is improving. We're becoming clearer. We're becoming more compassionate. We're becoming more loving. We're becoming more at peace. We're becoming more cultivating our virtue and our merits, right? So, and that's what we're doing. So we are growing, definitely. And this one is a wood. The one here next to the hidden is the wood, and that's about growth, right? And it's also about, seeing clearly as well. Now, let's have a look. Heaven and earth are moving together, an image of advance. In correspondence with this, the ruler gives full play to his ability and wisdom to complete the Tao, heaven and earth, and assist the suitable arrangement to influence people. Yeah, the ruler gives full play to his ability and wisdom to complete the Tao, heaven and earth, and assist the suitable arrangement to influence people. Yeah. So we influence people, right? Full play to his ability and wisdom, right? It's one thing telling people all the time, but actually the best way to influence people is how we are. And especially when you are in a tricky situation, right? You might have people, not treating you very well, and you remain steadfast and upright, right? Truthfully, you do not fall into bickering and fighting and arguing, and, this actually influences people. As long as you remain, don't talk about being walked all over here. You remain strong and truthfully you, but you don't go into all this, lower energies of bickering and arguing and getting into fights and stuff. You'd rather then take a step back and then find a different approach, right? Remain steadfast and upright, and you don't go into, slagging people off behind the back and all these kind of things, right? Because those are really inferior energies. And that can be difficult sometimes, where you just want to, not slagging off necessarily, but you want to explain, no, that person is really not very good, right? And but that's maybe not, right? Not very good. So let's have a quick look at relief, and then we're going to finish this reading for today. And I think we're just going to read the symbol. Thunder, the things cannot remain in hardship without end. Thus, after hardship, relief follows. Yeah. So, and we've had a difficult time, and relief is coming, right? It definitely is, and we're already feeling it. I can feel it. Definitely, it's changing, and it's changing because I am changing. Right? I am no longer being triggered, and I'm not rising to the occasion, and I'm not being frustrated and angry in the same way as I used to be. Earlier in the year. Now I'm just settling in, and I'm, responding rather, and then taking a step back, and then watching, and then finding a different route, right? Rolling thunder with heavy rain, an image of relief. In correspondence with this, the superior person pardons mistakes and deals gently with misdeeds. Yeah, very good. Rolling thunder with heavy rain, an image of relief. Yeah, so you get big thunderstorm coming in, and but then it makes the cloud, release all the rain, and then relief comes after this, right? And then the superior person pardons mistakes. Yeah, we're not being judgmentals here. And we actually see what's been going on, very often people that are hurting us don't realize they are hurting us. They're being manipulated by somebody else, or they're trapped in some sort of group of people who are very manipulative, or have very wrong views, right? Which does not come from love and compassion, or they're manipulated by one person and they don't realize right? That they do, what their actions are not very good because they've, yeah. So we do not, yes, we pardons mistakes and deals gently with misdeeds. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about here. Yeah. So anyway, that was the reading for today. I hope it was of benefit. I'm wishing you a beautiful day ahead. And next time I'll be sitting in another spot. I'm not quite sure what spot that will be. We'll see. Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.